4th. Um, and it's the weekend, and I have to work this weekend. So, I still have a little bit left on this crime blanket, the frog. So, thought we'd go ahead and finish frogging it. Let's sit here and chat while I finish frogging this thing. It really needs to be done with and out of my way so I can start all over again. um, I hope everybody has had a fantastic Friday, and I hope that y'all will have a wonderful weekend. Um, I hope you guys have been surviving all the rainstorms and thunderstorms and tornadoes that Mother Nature has been throwing at everybody. Um, I tell you, Mother Nature, this is just, I don't know what's wrong with Mother Nature these days. Um, but I'm just sitting here frogging the crime blanket, and figured we'd frog this out and get the yarn all situated, and so I can be done with this and start all over again. Kind of like that song, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again. Yeah, that's kind of me. Well, at least with this one. Um, but I do have all my notes. So it won't be a mess again. Because I was really liking it. And that's what really sucks, is I was really liking the true crime blanket. It was so cool. Um, and then I totally mess up. So I don't know if that's happened to any of you, or you've had to totally frog out a project or anything, but I know I've had to do that a few times. I think we've all had projects we've had to totally frog, whether it's just maybe, a couple of rows, or maybe you're just like, nope, I am just not into this project at all, and so you just totally frog the whole thing, and you decide, nope, I'm going to use this yarn for a whole nother project, which is probably what I'm going to do ultimately. Um, well, I know it will be ultimately. Um, the reason why that there's two strands of yarn, I was using two strands because I felt that they were to make them thick enough to match the Ogo yarn, because I started this with Ogo yarn. In this particular Ogo, it said on the packaging 4 weight, but it was a rather thick 4 weight. So, and I was using just the Just yarn, the Premier Just yarn with it, and the Premier Just yarn 4 weight is a thinner 4 weight compared to the Ogo 4 weight. Um, so I was trying to match the weight, if you understand what I'm talking about. Um, so, oh, I'm done with the purple. Done with the purple. Oh, okay. I'm just gonna do it this way, and then I'll put it on my ball winder later. Um, I do not want to move. I don't want to get out of this nest I've made here on the floor. Ooh, 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 ooh. I made my fingers too tight. I did. Okay, there we go. I'll put it in a ball first, and then I'll put it on my ball winder and actually make a little cake. Oh, that reminds me. Oh, you can't see over here, but over here in the hallway, I found some corner shelves that but I have to. I need to go get some screws. Either some screws or some nails to put on the wall so I can hang these corner shelves up in my corners, and then I'm gonna put my a lot of my cakes on there, or I might put like I have over here. Um, I have some yarn on. Uh, yeah, I can't talk straight today. Never mind. Um, let's sit here and ball up this purple. Then I'll go to town on the pink. When I get to the other end of the pink. So, I hope all of you are having a fabulous week, and hope you had a good week, and that you have been safe from everything that Mother Nature has been throwing at people lately, and I hope you guys are will have a wonderful weekend. Unfortunately, this is my weekend to work, but that is life. As the storybook goes, such is life in the big city where dogs bark at strangers. And oh, this is April, and Easter is coming up, and it's coming late this year. It's like at the end of this month, which is late for Easter. Um, some interesting. I'll give you a little side notes on me for a little bit. Um, for Easter, some neat things for me. Of course, coloring eggs. And like I was talking to my dad the other day, I have cousins. I have cousins that are younger than me. And when I was in college, I got to go spend the weekend, one Easter weekend, with my aunt and uncle and their two boys when they were little. And when they were little, okay, when I was growing up to color Easter, we were actually taught to color the Easter eggs, to leave them in the color dye until they change to make their pretty colors. Well, my aunt and uncle and their two boys were never patient enough to leave them in a color long enough to make them color. They would just keep dipping and dapping them into each color, and they would just turn brown. Well, then I was showing them, hey, you need to actually leave it sit in the cup, let it sit there for a while, and then when you pull it out, guess what? It becomes the color. And they were just like in awe over how pretty the colors were. Instead of being brown, they were actually pinks and purples and yellows and blues and greens. Another thing with Easter, when I was growing up, I don't know if this is like in all newspapers, but I don't know if you guys can remember when like in our local newspapers, the cartoon section, it would during the week it would be in black and white, and then on Sunday and Sunday funnies they would be in color. Well, one of the cartoons that I used to like to read was called Sally Forth, and Sally Forth every every year at Easter, you know, in some cartoons, the artist would somehow the way that they drew their characters, they would make their family grow up, and but anyway, this particular cartoon, Sally Forth, in the newspaper, um, every year at Easter, even though the parents would buy their kids the Easter candies and the chocolate Easter bunnies, somehow the mom would get every year without fail, before the kids would get a chance to eat any of the chocolate bunny, she would always eat the ears off the chocolate bunnies. It never fails. It never failed. It would just she would strikes again. Mom strikes again and eats the. It doesn't matter if they were solid or if they were hollow. She was like, I'm eating them. I'm eating the ears off them chocolate. For some reason, the ear part of the chocolate bunnies was her favorite part. Well, I guess her kids should be grateful that she didn't eat the entire bunny for them, but that was always kind of funny that she would eat the chocolate bunnies before her kids did. She eat the ears off the chocolate bunny before her kids even got a chance to eat any Easter candy. Oh my. Never failed. But yeah, I remember going on Easter egg hunts, and when I was little, Mom would always, take me to the store to go buy Easter dress, and I had some white patent leather shoes, and sometimes there were a couple of times where she even bought me a matching hat to go with my dress, or like my girls when they were little, bought them little dresses and hats and shoes, and sometimes they would even have, like a little girl's purse. Um, and you pray that they keep their clothes clean for the family pictures, and all the fun. But and of course they don't. But that's what happens. Okay, I have made a mess. Okay, but that's okay because that's on me. That's my fault. Just like this whole, I messed up somewhere in this crime blanket, so I'm having to rip it apart. But that's okay. That is okay. Sometimes life brings you messes, and you just gotta work through them. You really do. You just gotta work through them. You know, life just isn't not always perfect. As much as we would like it to be, it's not always perfect by any means. But then again, we're not all perfect either. So, um, um, it's gracious, gracious, gracious. Ugh, so much to do. Um, I do have a lot of projects I need to finish, and then once I get them finished, I get them off the floor. Like over there, I have in a bag. I just need to stuff a dinosaur. I'm making um, my tired brain is going blank on me. Wobbles, weebles, wobbles with the old body, wobbles, but they're not like the direct. They're only about like this big, but I'm making them out of blankets, and now they're like about like this big, and I'm making the dinosaurs. Um, and I just got stuff one, and then put the stripes on its belly, and I think and put on the eyes and stuff it, and sew the bottom, and I think it'll be done. Um, but I also want to make a whole family of dinos with the blanket yarns. Weebles wobble boot the doop full doom. I'm silly in case you haven't figured that one out. I tend to do that. If you see my devotions, like I started doing my devotions again, and so if you watch my devotions, or if you go back to my old videos and watch the devotions, you see I do that. I'm very silly, like a lot. Um, I am very silly a lot. I like to add in my own 2 cents when I read the devotions, and I like to um, add little things here and there. But tonight we're just having like a Frog It Friday kind of a thing tonight, and I'm frogging out my true crime blanket and trying to ball up the yarn after I've gotten some of it taken off of here. And I kind of made a mess, and I'm gonna have to go through my mess here. Like I said, I'm okay with being a mess. Sometimes you have just kind of have to be okay with yourself. Work's been good. Oh, speaking of work, well, this person I don't think works Fridays, and I know and if they work weekends, I don't have a clue because on the weekends we get to park somewhere else. But at my work, we have a separate lot for the employees, and there's this car. Well, I'm not mad at the car because technically it's not the car's fault; it's the driver's fault. But there is this driver, this driver of this car, and every time they park their car in the parking lot, they always take up two spaces. Like they will park it right down the middle of the line. Doesn't matter whether they come in, head, the front of the car first, or they back it in. They always got to take up two spaces. And trust me, that car is not big enough to be doing that. It is plenty big enough to fit in a regular parking space, and it annoys the heck out of me when people do such rude things like that. So lately, it's a little on the childish side, and I really hope I'm annoying them. But I have been, because nobody seems to be parking next to this person, so I took it upon myself to park next to this person every day. Every time I see their car, I'm parking that. Now, I don't take up two spaces, but I do park in the next open spot next to those two parking spaces. And I'm kind of hoping that they're going to get tired of seeing me, and I'm just going to be like, a part of me wants to, the really childish part of me wants to go buy checkers, buy a couple of checkerboards, glue the checkers onto the checkerboard in their spaces, right, on their spots, and I'm gonna and write a note that tells them, see, even checkers know take up one spot at a time, one space at a time, and leave the checkerboard and tell them that they need to learn how to park better. I just want to do that like a couple of times. That's really childish, I know. But it's just rude. It's rude to take up more than your fair share of a parking spot. Now, I have nothing. Now, if your car was like really, like if you have one of those really big trucks, or like if you've got, or like if you're pulling a trailer behind you, that's a whole nother. That's something completely different. That's different. But if you're purposely, I mean, trust me, my work, like the lights above the parking lot, you get your light pole, the light, they're low enough that you could see the where the spaces are with no problem at night. But no matter whether they're coming in early in the morning, and I know that, see, I get to work about 12:30ish, and they're already there and been there. And by the time I get off, they've already left and been gone for a while. So obviously they work for a shift because I work second, and it just bugs the heck out of me that they take up two spaces, because that's just wrong. One, it's illegal to double park, and two, it's just plain rude. It's rude. Oh, and as some of you know, a few weeks ago, I was on vacation for a couple of weeks. Well, one day while I was on that vacation, I was out running some errands, and I saw that car out in public, and trust me, it was parked just like it does at work. So guess what I did? I parked next to it. I wish I could have seen that driver's face when they saw my car. They would be like, "How does this car know I'm here?" That would have been funny. Um, you know what? Speaking of double parking, I see. I do everything on my phone. I need to learn. I need to go on my to find my laptop to cooperate and do some of this on my laptop so I could show you stuff on my phone. But anyway, and I don't remember if I saw it on Facebook or if I caught it on YouTube, but I've seen video. I saw a video once. This kid, like, he's like probably like a 20 something. That's why I call him my kid. But anyway, this kid, he had his car double parked right in this parking lot, and these two dudes in their monster trucks. Obviously, there was a lot of space on either side of the car for these monster, we call monster trucks. They decided to park as close as they could next, like, I'm that guy's car. They were like right here. Like he couldn't even get in the doors. And so this guy, this kid, he decided, I think he opened his trunk and pulled the back, the latch for the back seat to climb into the car from the back, and then got in his car that way. I don't think he learned his lesson, but I just thought that was great. I mean, because he kept going, how do I? You could see the wheels were turning in his head. He was trying to figure out how to get in his car because he couldn't get in with the doors because the doors were them monster trucks had the doors blocked. I thought that was funny, but a long time ago, like a short while, and I guess I'm gonna think about parking spaces because we have handicap spaces. But a long time ago, for like a real short while, there was because okay, we all heard of Toys R Us, right? But for a short while, Toys R Us came up with Babies R Us, where they sold nothing but baby stuff. Well, they had designated parking places, parking spots close to the store that were for pregnant women. And you know what? I don't know. That was such an awesome idea. I don't know why other stores didn't even think about that. I mean, think of all the pregnant women that are shoppers that are out there. They're buying all the stuff they need for their babies. Whether they're going to the grocery store, and buying formula and bottles, and I mean, you have to get a lot of stuff at the showers, but even after the shower, there's still a lot of stuff baby stuff that they need. And if the stores would create, you know, our stores and malls, especially grocery stores, had a place, also had designated parking spots for the pregnant mommies. I know the mommies would be grateful for it. Um, I don't know. I guess I overthink. I just think that would be a wonderful idea too. I mean, sure, it takes a little while for a pregnancy to look like a pregnancy because the first little bit, you don't see anything. It takes a little while before you start showing, but still, that would just be a really cool idea. Hmm. Like I said, right now we're just doing some frogging. on my true crime blanket. Well, it's not mine. Well, I'm making this, but it's not my pattern. Let's put it that way. The true crime blanket comes from Fiber Floozy, and on Friday nights, um, she reads a true crime story, and while she works on this blanket, or she might be doing some other craft, or she's knitting or crocheting, but she like, and I was really liking her pattern, so I decided to work on it, and I messed up bad, and so we're just a frog in it. We're a frog in it. We just a frog in. Oh, what happened here? Okay, I thought I had this ball going, and then part of it unraveled. Here we go again. So I gotta be careful because I'm gonna do this too tightly. Frogging we will go, frogging we will go, hi ho Dario, frogging we will go. 10 TV, 10 TV, 10 TV. That's actually a part of a song I learned to play on the piano. The words actually said TAN, 10, it said 10 TV, 10 TV, not 10 T period V period, but it was like, it looked kind of like 10 TV, 10 TV, 10 TV. But I'm sure it's probably not what it said. The only time I get to play the piano is when I go over to my dad's house because my parents have an old upright piano. I mean, it's old. Um, their church gave it to them because my mom used to play the piano for them, and um, she always loved playing on the piano. That was one day my dad had um, somebody come in and tune it for him, and they found the this paper that's on the inside of the piano, and then, like, this piano is like over 100 years old. I'm not kidding. I don't remember what the date was, but it's like over 100 years old. That's how old this piano is, and it still play. I mean, it's not a player piano, but you can still play it, and it's still in pretty good shape for as old as it is. It's seen a lot and been through a lot. I mean, this doesn't look brand new by any shape or means of the stretch of the imagination, but for as old as it is, it's in pretty good shape, which is awesome. Um, now, now, I'll tell you an old piano. Um, like I said, a couple of weeks ago, I was on vacation for a couple of weeks, and about a month ago, went out of state to go visit my family because my grandmother had turned 100 years old. Well, at my uncle's house, he has an old upright player piano, and they still have the scrolls that go in the player piano, and it'll still play the scrolls, or you can sit down and play the piano by yourself, yourself. And it's been tuned. They keep it tuned, and it gets played by everybody. And now that's old. To have an upright piano, that's something. Especially one that's still playable and still works. That's pretty awesome. Um, I mean, for it to actually still play, because you could, because like I've seen on game shows, these new fancier player pianos that are digital, and that's just not, it's just not the same. Like, I actually do have a keyboard, um, but it's just not the same as playing on a piano. And if you've ever played on a piano, as opposed, then you know what I'm talking about. You know the sound difference between a piano and a keyboard. There is a sound difference. Um, There is a sound difference. But I hope all of you are having a fantastic Friday, or what's left of the fantastic Friday, and that you will have a wonderful weekend. Um, I'm going to be continuing with my daily devotions. I really like telling you devotions to you, and I interject my own little comments here and there when I read the devotions. Because I just can't help myself. Oh, I am also working on, these are my Tunisian squares. I've got 3 done and working on a 4th for a blanket. Here's here's one. Oh, there we go. There's the white one. Here's the pink one. And the green. And I am working on, oh, took it out of the basket. Here's a yellow one that I have started. I'm almost done with. And I'm making it for a friend of mine at work. Um, she gave me a thing of thing of her, yeah, a tub full of yarn, and so I decided to pay her kindness by making her a blanket for her family, for her and her family, because that's just a nice thing to do, you know. It always pays to be nice. It really does. You know, in this world where we've gotten too many haters and too much drama, people really should try kindness. Because kindness goes a long way. You know, it's just like the saying goes, you get more flies with honey. You know, you get more bees with honey. Just, you know, the nicer you are to people, the more apt they are to do things for you. They really are. Than if you're just grumpy at them and tell them to do things and just, you know, being mean and nasty, they're not going to want to be around you. Whereas if you're nice to them, then they're more likely to do things for you and want to be around you than if you're grumping at them all the time and being dishonest and angry and mad and yelling at them all the time. Be nice to people. This world has got enough troubles without somebody being grumpy all the time. um, I'm done with this color. I used a lot of pink. Surprisingly, I used a lot of more pink than I thought I did. I must have had a really big skein instead of just yarn. Like I decided to use like a scrap or something. But I am also working on these Tunisian squares to make the blanket. But that's a whole separate thing than this. Yeah. think I'm gonna mess with this so I get done with one color. And I could have used this. Nope, on a separate project I'm making right now. Just doing like a frogget thing tonight. Just to tell you a little bit about me. To see how everybody is doing. Like it's raining right now. I'm looking forward to Easter. I have to go look it on my calendar. I'm not sure if I'm off that weekend. Because usually I look it up ahead of time because I want to make sure I know whether I'm off that weekend. Because if I'm off that weekend, I usually try to find myself a nice dress for Easter. My kids are a little grown for Easter baskets and such. All my kids are grown. Ooh, that was quick. Okay. I got 2 colors frog. Woohoo. Oh. Oh my goodness. Oh. Right back. Ouch. I pinched my hand. Ooh, that hurt. Ooh. Um, gonna move you over here. Oh, turned my volume up. Did not mean to do that. Okay, where did I put the bag? Yep. Get rid of that. Pick up a mess of pink. Okay. I had to pick up my mess. Because I'm going to take down my other tripod and get it put away. Hope all of you have had a fantastic Friday. And that Saturday will be a super Saturday and Sunday will be a blessed Sunday for you. Okay, now I get to fight with the tripod again. Oh, there we go. And there's that part. And this is the part that was annoying me earlier. Why don't you want to come off? Aha! I just had to unscrew it some more. Okay. But I will, since I have a tripod. I got this nice little tripod for my birthday. This one's a little more mobile. Once we get some more warm weather and it's sunny out, we can make some projects together. We'll make some projects together when it's outside and once it gets nice out. We'll learn some more stitches together because I've been showing you guys how to make the stitches in this box. And if you ever buy these, make sure you keep them in the box. Make sure you keep the booklet because a lot of these stitches refer to the booklet that's in here because the booklet explains how to do some of these special stitches. So, and these are wonderful beginner stitches in here. Also, can't wait to dive into these. This is going to be fun. And there was a sheet in here that said that summer gets here, they're going to be doing these again, this box again, only they're going to be flowered granny squares. And that's going to be fun. So, I think I did enough frogging for tonight. I do have I do have some yarn sitting over here for a stitch that I was trying to learn. I kind of got mad at myself, so I had to set it down for a minute. And I got to rework it. And then once I figure out how to work it, then I will bring it on here to show you. So you can also learn how to do it. I think I just added one too many. I think I miscounted when I did the original chain because it was a multiple of 10 plus 3. And I think I wasn't paying attention. I put too many chains in it. Um, so, with that, I am going to finish with this square, this prayer square, which I do have some down here that I have made, and I will be making some more to give to people also. Um, this small swatch of yarn has been woven with prayers. As you hold this swatch in your hand, may you feel God's strength, love, and peace flow and know that He holds you in His hands. May God bless and comfort you in time of need and give you peace. Amen. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Love y'all. Bye.